Hello and welcome to another episode of the Expertly German podcast, the podcast to learn German. Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu einer weiteren Episode des Expertly German Podcast, dem Podcast zum Deutschlernen. Das Sprichwort des Tages lautet: Einem geschenkten Gaul schaut man nicht ins Maul. Okay, so der Gaul is another word to say das Pferd, the horse. And Maul is another word to say der Mund, the mouth. So you don't look a horse that someone gave you as a gift into the mouth. So that means kind of not like just accept someone else's present. Don't criticize it. Don't look and see if it's really made out of real wood or real gold or something like that. Yeah. So be polite and accept the gift and don't criticize it too much. And that the German saying would be: Einem geschenkten Gaul schaut man nicht ins Maul. Before we continue with the episode, just a little reminder, you can find the transcript of the podcast in the show notes below. Also, I just launched a 10-week program that teaches you German. There are two programs available, one for A1 levels and one for A2 to B1 level. And the good thing about this program is that I will send you material, videos, homework, and quizzes throughout the week when you join the program. And then in the weekly group session, we will discuss the topic that I've sent you per email. So this is a great way to learn by yourself and also to learn it with others and with me and practice speaking, but also learning the grammar at your own pace. I think this is really valuable for people who kind of want to immerse themselves more into the German language in various ways. And the program is also priced pretty well. So go to my website, expertlygerman.com, and click on 10-week program. Okay, so as the exercise today in the beginning, I would like to do some possessive pronouns with you, Possessiv-Pronomen. So what are possessive pronouns? Well, exactly, pronouns that tell us the possession. So for example, mein, my, that's a possessive pronoun. So we have mein, dein, which is your, sein, his, ihr, hers, unser, like our, euer, yours, like you plural, and ihr, which is their. Cool. All right. So I'm going to tell you a sentence in English, and you have to think about the sentence in German. The first sentence and the last sentence, they are like normal sentence, and the three sentences in between, it's 5 in total, they have some Christmas words. So they might be a little bit more difficult if you don't know them. I'm going to help you with that. Let's just start. So, how would you say in German? My cat is sitting on our table. My cat is sitting on our table. And the correct answer would be: Meine Katze sitzt auf unserem Tisch. So we have meine Katze, that's the subject, das Subjekt des Satzes, and it's feminine, die Katze, so it's meine Katze with an I, meine Katze, sitzt auf unserem im Tisch. Why? It's masculine, der Tisch, and auf, here's a two-way preposition, and of course we have the dative, that's why it's dem Tisch, auf dem Tisch, and the same ending also applies for the possessive pronoun auf unserem Tisch. Meine Katze sitzt auf unserem Tisch. Next sentence. Santa Claus rides his sleigh. Again, Santa Claus rides his sleigh. Okay, I'm going to help you with the sleigh. In German, that is the masculine der Schlitten. Der Schlitten. And the translation would be: Der Weihnachtsmann fährt in seinem Schlitten. Der Weihnachtsmann fährt in seinem Schlitten. You could also say maybe mit seinem Schlitten. But the important thing here is that it is mit or in, and mit is always dative, so mit seinem Schlitten, or in this case is a two-way preposition, but that would also be in the dative because it's where does he drive in, like he drives in his sleigh. Sentence number 3. Her chain of lights, the Christmas lights chain thing, her chain of lights hangs on the Christmas tree. Her chain of lights hangs on the Christmas tree. I don't know if this is here the right way to say it in English. Like those of you who are native English speakers can criticize me, just send me an email. Maybe I can improve that. But how would you say that in German? Her chain of lights hangs on the Christmas tree. And that would be ihre Lichterkette hängt am Weihnachtsbaum. Weihnachtsbaum is literally the Christmas tree. Weihnachten, Christmas, and then Baum, tree. So not Weihnachtenbaum, but Weihnachtsbaum. Ihre Lichterkette would be nominative, Lichterkette feminine, and then her would be ihr, but here, because it's feminine, ihre Lichterkette hängt am Weihnachtsbaum. Sentence number 4. My presents are under our Christmas tree. Again, my presents or gifts are under our Christmas tree. Cool. So you already know Christmas tree, der Weihnachtsbaum, masculine. And the right answer would be meine Geschenke liegen unter unserem Weihnachtsbaum. Meine Geschenke liegen unter unserem Weihnachtsbaum. So Geschenke, das Geschenk, singular neutral, but plural would be die Geschenke, so meine Geschenke liegen unter, and unter is again a two-way preposition. Here it's where, not where to, so dative, unserem Weihnachtsbaum. And sentence number 5. I like your suggestion. But here the your is like you guys, plural. I like your suggestion. So not one person, but multiple people. I like your suggestion. Okay, and that would be ich finde euren Vorschlag gut. Accusative and then der Vorschlag, so it's ich finde den Vorschlag gut, and possessive pronoun has the same ending, so en, ich finde euren Vorschlag gut. We actually cut away here the e that comes after the u, so it's not eueren, but it is euren, or in German euren. Ich finde euren Vorschlag gut. If you want to see the sentences written out, you can go into the show notes and download the transcript for €1, and then you can see all the sentences, including what I'm doing next, written out. Cool. So now we come to the Nachrichten, the news in German. I say a sentence in German and then translate it as best as I can into English. That helps you to hear German, but also to understand the German sentences correctly. Cool. The first topic is Banker sehnen sich nach höheren Zinsen. So, sich sehnen nach is reflexive and is to long for or to look for. So, bankers are longing for or looking for higher interest rates. Höhere Zinsen. The listeners amongst you who already listened to this podcast a while know Zinsen is interest rate. Cool. Nach Corona ist die Rückkehr zur Normalität auch in der Finanzwelt schwierig. After Corona, it is difficult to return back to normal, also in the world of finance. Die Inflationsrate in Deutschland lag zuletzt bei 4,5%, so hoch wie seit 30 Jahren nicht mehr. The inflation rate in Germany was recently at 4.5%, the highest rate it has been in 30 years. EZB-Chefin Christine Lagarde beteuerte, dass alle Entwicklungen aufmerksam beobachtet werden. Beteuern is kind of like to assure, like I'm assuring you, blah, blah, blah. So, EZB boss Christine Lagarde assured that all developments will be closely monitored. Energieprodukte wie Benzin, Heizöl und das dafür benötigte Rohöl wird insbesondere teuer. Energy products such as gasoline, ja, Benzin, gasoline, heating oil and the crude oil, so the raw oil required for them are particularly expensive. Auch durch Lieferengpässe wird es teuer. Like also through delivery bottlenecks, it becomes more expensive. Alles soll nur vorübergehend sein. Nächstes Jahr soll die Inflation wieder sinken. Everything should only be temporary. Next year the inflation should fall again. Die EZB will weiter Milliarden in die Wirtschaft pumpen und die Zinsen unverändert lassen. The ECB will continue to pump billions into the economy and leave interest rates unchanged. Ja, unverändert, unchanged. Von einer Zinswende will Lagarde nichts wissen. So Lagarde does not want to know anything about a turnaround in interest rates. Christian Sewing, Chef der Deutschen Bank, denkt da anders. So Christian Sewing, Head of the Deutsche Bank, thinks differently, anders. Er glaubt nicht mehr an das Narrativ der EZB, dass die Preise nur vorübergehend über die von der Notenbank angestrebte Rate von 2% gestiegen sind. He no longer believes in the ECB's narrative, ja, Narrativ, that prices only rose temporarily above the rate of 2% targeted by the central bank. Das Delta-Virus wird über den Winter hinausgehen und zu weiteren Lieferengpässen führen. The Delta virus will go beyond winter and lead to further bottlenecks. In den USA wurde die geldpolitische Wende schon eingeleitet. The turnaround in monetary policy has already been initiated in the US. So einleiten ist to initiate. And so the turnaround ist hier die Wende. Solche wichtigen Entscheidungen erwarten die Märkte auch für Europa, spätestens bei der nächsten Sitzung des EZB-Rates. So, such important decisions are also expected by the markets in Europe, at least or like latest in the council meeting of the ECB. Okay, and the second news topic, die zweite Nachricht. Kiffen verändert das junge Gehirn. Smoking weed changes the young brain. Eine Studie mit 800 Jugendlichen überprüfte, ob Cannabis bleibende Schäden verursacht. A study with 800 teenagers examined whether cannabis caused permanent damage. Bei Gehirnscans war die Hirnrinde jugendlicher Cannabiskonsumierenden an bestimmten Stellen deutlich dünner als bei der Vergleichsgruppe, die nicht gekifft hat. So Gehirnscans is brain scans, and then the Hirnrinde, well, it's a bit difficult, like it's a cerebral cortex, you know, and then Jugendlicher is just teenagers. So that means in brain scans, the cerebral cortex of teenagers that use cannabis was significantly thinner in certain areas than in the comparison group, ja, die Vergleichsgruppe, that had not smoked weed. Der präfrontale Kortex war besonders betroffen. Das ist der Teil im Gehirn, der für Impulse und Problemlösungen zuständig ist. So the prefrontal cortex was particularly affected, the part in the brain that is responsible for impulses and problem solving. Je mehr die Jugendlichen konsumierten, umso mehr Verhaltensstörungen hatten sie. Ja, je mehr, umso mehr. Structuring sentences like that means the more blah blah blah, the more, or the more the less. So in this case, it is the more the teenagers consumed, the more behavioral disorders they had. Verhaltensstörungen. Das Verhalten is the behavior. And Störungen really means the disorders or something that is disrupting that. Wichtig dabei, das Frontalhirn ist erst Mitte 20 voll ausgereift. Bis dahin ist das Risiko durch Cannabiskonsum deutlich höher. So it is important to note, ja, wichtig dabei, important to note that the frontal lobe is not fully mature until you're in your mid-20s. Until then, the risk of cannabis use is significantly higher. Das heißt, das heißt, auch 18-jährige Kiffer können ihr Gehirn noch nachhaltig schädigen. That means even 18-year-old people who smoke weed can still damage their brains permanently. Doch ob Cannabis bei Erwachsenen langfristige Folgen hat, ist wissenschaftlich immer noch umstritten. But whether cannabis has long-term effects in adults is scientifically controversial. Cool. All right. So I hope you learned some German today with me. I hope you can follow the German sentences that I was saying, and that also the translation of the words of the sentences, but also me focusing a little bit on specific words helps you to improve your vocabulary, also in a sustainable way, so that you don't just remember them tomorrow, but that you really remember the vocabulary by listening to the podcast regularly for a long time, that it really elevates your German. If you want to learn more German, I have a 10-week program. You can find that in the link. I also offer private lesson, or you can just download my free ebook. I have one for beginners and I also have one for business German or Wirtschaftsdeutsch. Please also share the podcast wherever you can, forward it to your friends, make sure that people know about the podcast so that more people can learn German basically for free. So, cheers und bis bald.